Oh, this is kind of a medieval technique, but it'll work. So if you ever do remove dually fenders from a square body that the fenders have been on since it was brand new, you're going to want to do this on the day where you have the most patience. And then another trick, have yourself one of these custom jobbers. That is a custom wrench. Highly skilled individual made that. Anyways, I lengthened that wrench so I can get up inside behind the in between the bed side and the fender. Well, there it is. I bet I spent 2 hours on this side and another 2, maybe even 3 hours on the other side. Big time pain. So I stripped the fenders off my bed here. I've cleaned up everything really good with the pressure washer. Now it's time to start repairing dents and rust. Everything I see here is all surface rust, so I'm just going to lightly sandblast the surface rust out of here. Hit it with a skim coat of filler just to get the dimples and everything. There is a hole down here that's rusted through this corner, so I'll build a patch panel for this corner. Typical bulkhead dents all through here. I'll get that with the hammer and dolly, clean that all up. And there's one wowie here on the front of the bed I've got to pull. Other than that, this bed's pretty dent free. There is an area back here I showed you last night that I gotta get the patch out of it. There's a failed dent fix in the corner that's got to be fixed. So I'll work on that. I'll get the sheet metal knocked out on that, clean up the Bondo, and do the same thing. I'll skim it with new Bondo and get this thing ready for paint. So I'm hoping this weekend, I've got a 3-day weekend coming up, I'm hoping I can attack this bed enough to where I could at least get metal etching primer on it after I've fixed all the metal and sanded it down. Get some metal etching primer. If I'm doing really good, I might be able to get a coat or 2 of some polyester filler primer on it. So that's the goal. It's a big truck. If I try to attack it all at once, it's going to be extremely overwhelming. So I'm just going to attack it in sections. It's a big job, but it's kind of exciting. This truck's going to be a lot of fun, so stick around. I'll cut a little big. I'll go 8 inches by 6 inches and trim it to fit. Got to bend a crown in it to match the contour here, and then a little lip on the bottom here. So let me go find a piece of metal and cut an 8-inch by 6-inch piece and start shaping this. Got this old piece of shelf, bent up shelf that a buddy of mine gave me. It's about the same gauge. It's probably 16 gauge, 18 gauge. I'll just cut a chunk of this and then start bending it on the anvil and just kind of hand forming that angle. So pretty crude techniques, but it works. Go 8 inches this way, and I got some. Yeah, I'll go about 8 inches this way. There's a lip I got to cut off here, so I'll go 9, and then that lip's right before these holes, so I'll just cut on those holes. So this is just the beginning. It's super super rough measurements. We're not going to get too crazy about making it perfect size right now. So there's my patch. That's going to be a part of my bedside here pretty soon. So we'll check the angle of this, like a little bit more. Oh, this is kind of a medieval technique, but it'll work. Okay, now I'm going to make the crown, or attempt to. Right now, I'm just eyeballing it. Go test fit it. Okay, so this is just me eyeballing it, and a couple test fits. So obviously I still need to do some more work, but you're seeing kind of where it's headed. So I know I got to get the bend started closer to my crease. So I'll work on that a little bit. Get this fitted up pretty good. Okay, I think I'm ready to tack this on. Okay, one good tack there. Good tack there. Okay, now it's time for some cutting. I'm going to scribe the back of this where the inside of this goes, so I know where to cut it later. So I'll just scribe that, because that back piece is going to come out, the piece that's behind there. So let me grab a Sharpie and scribe that, so I know where it needs to get chopped off. Well, I can already tell I messed up. I got to grind these 3 welds off. The whole thing's got to rotate down. Great. Okay, now I can scribe the back of this. All right, now I know where that gets cut off later. Okay, start popping some tacks in here, and then I got to cut it and butt weld it. So I'm going to show you how to do that here. Alright, okay, now I'm going to zip right here, along here with that cutoff wheel, and just tack it all the way around real quick, and pull the piece out from behind there, and move on. place. Let's see how I can weld this thing back together here. See if I can. Alright, a little tack there. I think I gotta cut this again because it's too tight. Landed right on my nose. Oh, dang it. So this bodywork failed. Whoever repaired this before got pretty lazy and didn't really fix much of the dent. Hammer and dolly it. They got it to a point and then bondoed the crap out of it. So I'm working on getting it back to the right shape with the hammer and dolly. I'll grind all this bondo out of here, get it way better than it is right now, and then I'll put some more filler in it. So right here, it's caved in pretty good. That never got pushed out, so that's why this metal's still creased down here at the bottom. So I'm going to put the porta power behind this panel and see if I could push here and tap these crowns to pull this panel back out. I'll try to do the same up here. There's still quite a bit of filler. There's still quite a bit of filler in this area. So this is kind of caved in here. I'll try to push it here. I could feel the dents back there, but there's no way I could get in there to swing the hammer. So I'm going to try to push the dents there. I might have to weld some studs in there and try to pull it with the slide hammer. So this could be a little longer project than I anticipated, like always. So after pulling the dents and getting this panel as straight as I could, there was some tight creases that I couldn't get pulled. So I'm filling them with some weld material so I don't have a bunch of thick bondo here that's going to crack and fall out. Then I'm just going to skim coat this panel and get this good as I can and see if I can get some shiny paint on this thing. So I've got the metal work done on this bottom quarter panel that was munched with a bunch of bondo in it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a lot less filler in here. Did a bunch of fill welds here because I couldn't push the dents, and hammered and dollied this whole corner, pulled a bunch of dents here. I might spend a little bit more time in this section before I put filler on it. It really looks 100% better than it did. So anyways, that's about that's that corner. I've got a dent here from when I pulled the fender off. When I loosened this bolt, it actually pushed the fender out while it was still attached to these other bolts and pushed the bedside in. So I'm gonna use an attachment for the slide hammer that just fell down in the bed pocket, and pull that dent. So I'll use this attachment for the slide hammer to pull this dent. So that'll be that. I'll get that dent pulled. I got to cut all these studs off that didn't come out with the fender. So I got to cut those off. And then I'm going to use that same method here with the slide hammer to pull that dent. And then I've got a little bit more hammer and dolly work to do on the front of the bed here. I got a bunch of it straightened out last night. So anyways, once I get all this metal straightened out, I'm going to start filler work on that back corner, and I got to do a little bit of filler work in the patch I did the other day where the bedside was rusted through. So I got to do a little bit of filler work here on that patch, and then I'm going to start sanding this bed and hopefully get some primer on it this weekend.